Hey Programming 11, we're going to be now moving our paddles. So in the last video we got them all set up with variables and we're going to make them all able to move, but now we actually have to put in the code to control them. And we're going to be learning how to use the keyboard to do that. Yes, keyboards unlocked. So we're going to go to a new tab. I made a keyboard tab. I invite you to do the same. And I'm going to be making two new function definitions. Void key pressed and void key released. So these functions are built-in function definitions, just like in the mouse tab we have mouse released and so on. So this just manages the keys. When you press a key down, then key pressed, it gets automatically called. If you release a key, then void key released automatically gets called. So we can sort of trigger events and check what key was pressed when these happen. In addition, we'll just go ahead and get started. So we can check to see, when a key is pressed, we can ask what key was pressed by saying if, and then supposing maybe the letter, like W and S are often used for up and down for video games. So we can check to see if W was pressed. So I'm going to just zoom in to show you that to check if a key is pressed, we're going to use single quotes here. Not the double quotes that we use in many other places. It has to be single quotes for the key variable. The key is what's called a character type, and these are characters when you have in single quotations. So we'll check to see if the key is W. Oh, but I guess it might be a capital W, so let's also put in if or key equals the capital W character. And we'll do another if statement as well for S for down. So that way we can sort of, control something. And you can right now make it work. You can type in some stuff, but it's not going to be the final way we do it. So I'll type in, just to demonstrate an example here. So I'm going to change left y equals left y minus 5. That'll move us up as we decrease our y coordinate, which is weird to say out loud for anybody who has taken math before in high school. But there it is. That's computer graphics for you. So hey, let's check out this code. You'll notice I'm not using the braces here. I didn't bother to put in braces. It turns out if you just have exactly one line of code, you can skip the braces and it will understand what you're doing. So this will just help me organize the code and make it all sort of one line at a time. But anyways, this will work. Watch, I'll run it and we'll see that as I press W, I do move up, and as I press S, I do move down. So that does work, but you'll notice that there's a bit of a gap. When I hold down W, it will move forward slightly, and then there's a delay, and then it'll continue moving. So that's called a key repeat delay. That's built into your operating system, and it's not great for games. It's good for typing. If you want to type, then you want, if I press H and I hold it down, then it types out the first H, and then it waits before typing some more H's, or whatever the letter is. That's not good for games. What we would like to have happen is when we press the key, it just smoothly moves up or smoothly moves down. We don't want it to kind of be choppy as it moves, and definitely don't want that repeat delay in there. So we're going to get rid of this. See ya later. And what we're going to do is we're going to be creating some Boolean variables. Yes. That will basically, a Boolean variable is a true and false variable. So ints are integers, floats are decimal numbers, strings are sentences or words, text, and we're going to make some keyboard variables that are Booleans, which are true and false. So keyboard variables. I'll just move this up a bit so we can see. So I'm going to type in Boolean, which means, again, it's a true or false variable. It can just be one or the other. And I'll make one for each key. So W key, S key. Eventually I want the up arrow key, and the down arrow key. We might have other keys later on, but that's a good start. So, so what exactly is the W key? So when it's true, that means I'm holding down the W key. And when it's false, I'm not holding down the W key. So the same with all the other key variables. They just tell you yes or no, true or false, am I pressing this key and holding down the key. So I'm going to initialize them all to false at the beginning. I'm going to assume we're not pressing any keys. So initialize keyboard variables. So I'm going to say W key equals S key equals up key equals down key equals false. And that will make all of them false, all in one line of code. Kind of nice. And then what's going to happen here is when I press a key, I'm going to set that variable to true. So when I press the W key, I'm going to set W to true. When I press the S key, I'll set S key to true. Now, that's where released key comes in. When I let go of the key, that's when key released is called. So what I can do is sort of the same idea. I can check to see, hey, did you release the W key? In which case, set W key to false. So I'm going to copy this over. And it's basically the same, except now this is setting them to false. So, oops, there we go, yeah. So this is sort of the structure that you need to make the keyboard stuff work. Now we can be checking to see if W key is true or false, and if it is, we can move stuff. And we're going to do that in the actual game function. So I'm going to put in paddles, so this is going to be the draw paddles, and then I'm going to have move paddles here. So I can say, hey, if W key is being pressed, and I can just say equals true. So I can check, hey, is it true? Then I will actually move the key. I'll say, or the paddle, left Y equals left Y minus 5. And if S key is true, then I'll move it down. Now, because it is set up this way, where I just set it to true when it goes down and set it to false when it goes up, that means now that my keys, they'll just happen every frame. Like this movement will happen every frame. That's fantastic, right? That means it'll be smooth and no delays. So if I run it now, I can see that, oh, look how smooth it is. It moves so nicely. Whoops, it goes way off screen. So we'll have to fix that. It goes way down screen. So there's some issues to worry about there. But this is a good start. Okay, so love it. This is looking good. What about the other paddle? So if we go over to keyboard, we need to choose another set of keys for up and down. And it turns out it's a little bit different for up and down. So instead of checking key for up and down, I'm going to check key code. So key code is another built-in variable, and it just turns out that some keys don't have like a convenient character that you can type, right? Like how do you type the arrow key? If you press arrow, like it moves, it doesn't leave a symbol behind. So key code is a code that represents what the arrow keys, code is, since there's no typable symbol for it. And we can check to see if it equals up. If you type in capital UP, then that will be the symbol for the up key. So I can check to see, there's no capital up or lowercase up, so I can just check to see if it equals up. So then I'll make the up key true. And I'll do the same thing for if key code equals down. Then I'll make the down key true. And the same kind of thing will happen, of course, for key released, but key released is about turning it off, saying now it's false. All right, so that's looking pretty good. And we can now use the same sort of variables, this up key and down key, in the game function, exactly like we did with W key and S key, but for the right paddle instead. So I'll say, hey, if up key equals true, then it'll be right Y equals right Y minus 5. And if up key equals false, it'll be right Y equals right Y. Oh, sorry, actually it's down key equals true. So silly. Let's try it again. So down key equals true, then right y equals right y plus 5. So now I'll run this, and we should be able to use the arrow keys on the other side. Yeah! Woohoo! So things are looking up. So I like it. I like it a lot. There'll be one more thing you need to do, and that's going to be adding in the ball movement. I'm not actually going to do a video on that because I think that you probably know how to do that based on the target clicking game. So once you get the paddles moving, the next step is going to be making the ball bounce, and then we can take a look at how we can make the paddles bounce the ball. So if you got to this point and you're moving things with the keyboard, go ahead and add in that aspect of the project, the ball bouncing around the screen. You'll have to create like VX and VY for that. And also, spruce this up. This is looking ugly right now. Look at this. Ugh. I mean, it's not bad. It's kind of classic. But you'll want to put in, your intro screen. Maybe find some nice color schemes from colorlovers.com and go from there to improve things. Okay, so that's going to be our lesson here. And take a look at the next video where we'll actually make the ball hit a paddle and bounce off of the paddle. I think that's going to be a good one. Okay, thanks everybody.